So let's go through some of the morning papers now. With me this morning are the UK editor of The Big Issue, Paul McNamee, and international business expert Alison Stewart-Allen. Welcome back to both of you. We dealt with a lot of the front pages, didn't we, in the last hour? So we're going to delve inside this time around. And Paul, you found an article in the Express, first of all, talking about some of the pressures on nurses in particular, I think.
Yes, this is something that the Express picked up from the BBC, and it is looking at the Nuffield Trust have identified that 40,000 nurses have quit in the last year. That's 1 in 9 of nurses in Britain. A lot of experience, particularly experienced nurses leaving. And this is a lot of what they're reporting here is because of a work-life balance and the pressures they're feeling, and trying to find some way to get through days. And we know the pressures that nurses and healthcare specialists were put under, particularly during COVID, trying to save so many lives. So I suppose it's not a surprise. But what is difficult is to see how the replacements are going to come. We're about to hit the 80th anniversary of the Beveridge report, when the NHS was first really conceived, and that idea of cradle to grave care feels as though it is ebbing away. You've got Simon Clarke talking quite gleefully about tax cuts and suggesting, and the implication being that taking tax cuts out to make a smaller state, as if there's a load of people on the make trying to get money, but the money is needed for this very thing, to recruit nurses, to pay nurses properly, to keep everything going. The average nurse salary, starting salary, is 25 grand, which isn't that much when you consider what they need to do for us. So it's an identifiable crisis. We don't know exactly what Brexit has cost in terms of people coming into nursing from overseas. There's a major problem, and just another thing that the Truss government are going to have to really deal with, but it doesn't look as though they're going to do it by bringing money in from tax revenues.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think we will get more details, obviously, in the months ahead, certainly by the end of November, that November 23rd date on that. In the meantime, Alison, you're taking us in a different direction via an electric vehicle, I believe.
Absolutely. So there's a new UK startup that is doing electric vans. And the reason this is newsworthy is because they have several orders already from UPS. And it's quite an innovation to be able to have an electric van doing deliveries. It cuts emissions. It's a lot more eco-friendly. But what's innovative is that this Bicester micro factory is in fact a novelty because of the way it assembles the parts. It has a just-in-time approach to the assembly process. And it's another great British story of innovation. You know, this country is full of them. And I think we don't celebrate that really enough. About just the incredible talent here to be able to do things like this. The other aspect of this is the international appeal. I think there are not any other countries anywhere in the world that are doing electric vans that can turn them out at this pace and serve a global market like Arrival can. So, and the name Arrival is actually really good. It sounds like rival. But I think they are destined for great things. So it's a very good story.
Oh, well, there's a real seal of approval there from Alison for that. And nice to get some positive news, I guess. So we haven't had very much of that around, have we? But Paul, you've got a story in the Express, haven't you, about older people wanting a return of face-to-face banking?
Yes, and can I just say on electric vans, just to support what Alison was saying in terms of green, big issue is switching to a fleet of electric vans. We're working with Citroën to get it all the magazines across Britain. So we're with you, Alison. Yes, in the Express, I don't think I've ever said Express so much as I have this morning, but this is a story, it's an Age UK poll, and it says older customers want a return of bank tellers. The Age UK want to put pressure. They found that up to 3/4, they say, of older customers want face-to-face banking for a whole set of reasons that it wouldn't be too hard to work out. They feel that at particular times in life, when there's been a bereavement, for instance, it's better to face-to-face to deal with the estate. Or they just want to make deposits or take cash withdrawals. There's still a lot of cash being used, and it's felt that perhaps online banking isn't always the answer. But the interesting part, I think, is that the Age UK are demanding amendments in the Financial Services and Markets Bill, and that is to protect, asking the government to guarantee they will protect physical post offices and banks, which, you could argue, well, this is the way that the world is going. Everything is moving cashless. But I can see that they may get some cut through in this, because if the Conservative Party look to their demographic and they see that over 65 are more likely to vote for them, perhaps that particular thing will be a bonus for us all, because it'll mean more post office and banks stay open.
Yeah, interesting one. Meanwhile, in the Daily Mail, Alison, you've seen a story about bereaved families possibly being able to get access to their children's profiles. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, well, there's pending legislation, obviously, with the here in the UK to oversee, if you like, and regulate online platforms. And sparked by this Molly Russell case, which is incredibly tragic, that the family have been waiting 5 years to get information about the feed and the algorithms that fed Molly Russell this diet of harmful content. And it's looking now as if families will be able to crack open this vault that the social media platforms have persistently protected, so that families can see what their children have been looking at. And I think this is a transparency measure that should have come 5-6 years ago, but I guess better late than never. So this is good news for families who are concerned, rightly, about what these platforms are serving up. And the more transparency and the more light that is shed on how companies and brands, online or offline, how they operate, this has to be a good thing.